Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of The Chat. I'm Sue Stewart along with Pat LaRose. Nice to have you and see you, not quite in person, but always a week at least.
It's crazy that this is the norm that we're adjusting to now. I think this is the fifth or the sixth week that we're doing our Zoom podcast.
So how are things going in your household this week? I know I told you last week I'd given myself bangs so the wrinkles don't show so much, but then I decided to touch them up a little bit and I messed up. I thought it was bangs, but I have a pin now because I got too creative.
Yeah, I think, well, the boys and I are definitely need a haircuts. Like, you probably can't tell so much, but I'm like, it's starting to curl a little bit. Where am I going here? On this side, on the back, but it's at the point. I think I've been a little bit at the back. I've been wearing hats for the past couple of days, but I figured I'd do myself up a little bit for the podcast today. But we definitely need haircuts, and I'm not brave enough to do mine myself. I think I would try and do the boys. I don't think my wife would let me do that, but the household is in need of haircuts. We're coping as best as we can, under the circumstances, but it's getting tough. I mean, even the boys are noticing they're getting frustrated. And my Quinn, his birthday is this Saturday, and he wants to have a party, and we're trying to explain to him that unfortunately can't happen. But so we're getting through it day by day.
I know we have this topic coming up in a little bit. We've got a few things we're talking about. Some of the things on the agenda. Mother's Day. We're going to talk a little bit about the nonprofits and what they're doing to raise money over the next little while. Some of the things that are going on in grocery stores and what's happening in the real estate world. But let's skip right to that since you brought up his birthday coming up this weekend. How are you managing that?
So it is a good topic. It's an interesting conversation to have. So for us, we're explaining to them that there is a virus and that there's germs, and that's how we're explaining they have to wash their hands, and that's why we can't go to the park, and that's why we can't have a party. And they're asking, well, how did the germs get here? And between like conversations that we're all having with them, they understand that somebody brought it here on a plane and that's how it spread. But I mean, my kids are, Quinn will be 6 and my other Pierce will be 4 in June. So it's hard for them to really grasp. So we're explaining to them that there's germs. But I will say this, and I'll touch on these points. On the Canadian Mental Health Association website, they actually have a great resource on talking to children about COVID-19 and its impact. And so they say here, I'll just summarize quickly. Children need to be reassured in a way that is age appropriate. So they're saying as a first step, you may consider a family meeting to acknowledge their fears, explain the overall risk of getting the virus and what happens if they do get sick, outline the steps that you are taking to keep them and yourself safe during the pandemic, reassure them that young children tend to get a mild form of the virus, and discuss any questions they may have. But they also consider, and I think this is maybe more to help with mental health, limiting their time watching TV and on social media, engaging them in activities that can help them feel empowered, help your children become better consumers of health information. For example, if they ask you a question, help them to identify credible online sources of information and help them understand the information provided. That's actually a really good tip that a lot of people, I think, could use, and not, trusting 100% of what they're reading on social media, and to actually check reliable sources. Encouraging your children not to share drinks, makeup, or other personal items during this time, and advising adolescents not to smoke or vape, and assisting them to stop immediately, since sharing vapes or cigarettes are fairly common. So some great information there from Canadian Mental Health Association.
Sorry, what's the website address?
It is camh.ca.
Okay, Canadian Mental Health Association.ca.
Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't realize I hadn't been looking, because I know with Alex, she's going to be 13 in July. She gets the grasp of it. She doesn't really sit and watch the news with me. I don't encourage her to do that, because she gets extremely nervous and anxious about stuff like that, especially at the beginning. But now I think it's every day is a new day, and she plays Fortnite, so she's not caring as much. But the 4.5-year-old, he wasn't sure why when we, did a driveway hello to my best friend and her son Finn the other day. He wanted to get out so bad, and I said no. And I had to tell him, Aunt Tracy had the buggies. How else to word it? Aunt Tracy
buzz.
can't get.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
It is tough, especially for the littlest ones. And again, with the grandparents and such, it has been very difficult, but I'm glad they've got that out there because not everybody knows how to jump into a conversation or how to go about it, especially if they're talking, the older kids I'm referring to, if they've got conversations going back and forth with their friends, you don't know what they're being told on that end. So it's nice to be
Right.
all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to say hello to our friends at Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram out on Vincent Massey Drive. They're still open for servicing. I mean, people have to have their cars serviced, whether it's an oil change or getting finally your summer tires on. I think they're still going, right, Pat?
Yeah, so if you have service needs, that they can still accommodate that. Again, from a sales perspective, they're doing everything they can. So they can do virtual walkthroughs of vehicles for you. They can do virtual consultations. You can also shop the lot on their website at riversidechrysler.ca. And again, we encourage you to stay connected with them on social media, Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They'll continue to keep you updated on how things are progressing as they know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are the kids in the room? No way, they can't hear me. How did you go about a birthday present?
So we tried a couple of different things. He wanted some unique gifts, and we tried to find them locally here, and most locations don't have them. So the other alternative was to try Amazon or an online resource. But unfortunately, those resources, it would take a lot longer to arrive. So they would come after his birthday. So that wasn't an option. So we did a couple of things. So we pre-ordered some gifts off Kids Corner or from Kids Corner for the curbside pickup. And then I said, I'm just going to go and wait in line at Walmart and attempt to see what they have to try and get us whatever I can. And so I waited about 40 minutes in line, and it was a very unique experience, I have to say. I know, obviously doing grocery shopping, they have arrows in some of the aisles driving, traffic, so there's not crossing paths, which is fine. But it was on twofold. It was different at Walmart. One is because I had a list of some other things that I was required to pick up while I was there, and so I don't know Walmart's grocery section that well because I don't normally do groceries there. I don't pick up items there. So when I'm going through the aisles, I'm checking the list, and if I miss something, I had to go back to find it. We're on a specific aisle, but because the lanes are like one-way lanes now, I had to like backtrack on different lanes. So it's quite an experience. And then when you get down a lane, even if you're going down the opposite lane to get to the lane you need to go to, and there's people down that aisle, you're not going to scoot past them. So I'm waiting as people are picking up items and, trying to find what they're looking for. But, excuse me, but I did manage to find some stuff there that now it's going to be a test to see how it goes because we didn't really find the things he wanted. Right. So I tried to do the best I could with what they had. And, I mean, we got some good stuff from Kids Corner, but even, he's into Sonic the Hedgehog right now. He's into Trolls. He's into, some things that are hard to find right now.
Yeah. So basically what you need to have going in is an overview and a map of Walmart, and actually mark out like you're that kid on Home Alone where he's got the big map of what he's going to do at what time.
Yeah.
That's what you need going into place.
Yeah. Well, see, and it's when I go to a grocery store that I'm comfortable in, like normally, when I do groceries, I go to bathrooms and I know where everything is because I go there so often, and I don't have to worry when I have my list. Most of the time, I just, as I'm going down the aisle, I know to throw it in the cart. But in this case, looking for a certain type of salad dressing, anyway, it was a bit of a challenge, but I got through it. And, it was nice because it wasn't inundated with people. Like normally when you go to Walmart, it's a crowded place, but it was a nice, when I was in the toy section, there was nobody there. There was nobody there but me. So it was a nice, calm Walmart shopping experience.
Oh, awesome. I actually went into Farm Boy recently because I realized we, of course, have the Finch Market, but we're mostly known for meat.
Right.
And habits, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I realized I haven't had breakfast or lunch, and I'm eating later. So things are just not happening the way they ever have in my world. So I decided to go to Farm Boy and get all my old staples, making sure I've got all the salads and I like to eat like a vegetarian. Luke brings enough meat home that a couple times I want to eat like a vegetarian. So I had zero problems going in there. I saw Todd at the door wiping down the carts. They've got the 2 lines going everywhere. I felt super comfortable, and it felt really good to be out seeing people, because I really haven't. Outside of this house and going to the Finch Market, I'm not out and about shopping anywhere. So it was nice to be back at Farm Boy after about, I think, almost 2 months. But it was a great, pleasant experience, and I look forward to going back at some point and getting rid of this. I'll be honest, it was the other night I went to go to bed and I realized something's wrong. It was like, he thinks, oh God, what now? I'm like, is this normal? I pointed to my belly. The pajamas were tight. I'm like, yeah, I gotta work on this. The pandemic
Right.
pounds.
I'm sure I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing that right now.
My dog he loves so hard, that dog. I have to say though, when I was in there, here's what I don't know, because having a grocery store, I'm consistently Purelling, I'm consistently washing my hands, I'm consistently wiping things down. But what I was nervous about when I got to the produce section, because I needed tomatoes, I needed limes, I needed a bunch of different things for my salads. And I'd pick up a tomato and just as I put it back to get another, I'm like, no, I touched it. If I touch it, do I have to take it? Like, I had no idea. So I had a couple of tomatoes that, thankfully, Farm Boy has great produce, so I didn't have to worry about getting it home and thinking that part of it was rotted or something. So yeah, that's one of the things. Are you allowed to touch, like to take a look at something and look at the ingredients and put it back? Was there a rule on that one?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I know that's why you see a lot of people are encouraging you to wash your groceries, like to wash the packaging, to wash your fruit and vegetables when you bring them in. But that's a good point, right? If you're in the grocery store and you're picking up an item and it's not the item you want, or especially if it's produce, and then you're putting it back, hopefully you didn't cough or sneeze on it and put it back. But it's, what do you do? And that's I guess that's something that we're faced with. We're picking up stuff and putting it in our cart, not realizing if somebody else, if it's infected or not. And I think that's why they say, like, when you wear gloves, it doesn't really protect you that much, because you could be picking up items that somebody else had infected, and then you're touching other items. So unless you wash and wipe down your groceries before you bring them in the house, or when you bring them in the house.
Truthfully, I can compare it to your best friend as a child who had the parents who had that one living room that nobody ever went into, and you vacuumed out so there was no feet marks. It felt like that going from the Finch Market into Farm Boy, because I feel really sterile in my own store, and I'm the one doing all the stocking with the rest of the staff. So I've touched everything no matter what. So going in there, I was like, uh-oh, I don't want to touch your things, just what I want so I can get out. So it was just a really different experience for me going to another place.
You just made me think of, and when you mentioned the house, that friend's house, did it have plastic on the couch?
No, they were a little past that one. They didn't have any pets or anything, so there was nobody on the couch, so they weren't protected.
Oh my God. But I will say this, and we've usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, but the past couple of shows, we've been pretty good at recognizing all the grocery stores and the stores in general that are open. And, it seems like we've pretty much crossed different grocery stores, and they're all doing a fantastic job in taking proper precautions and accommodating the consumers during this crisis. And I will say too, the curbside pickup, it's really great to see how quickly some of these stores have been able to adapt. Like Kids Corner, like when I was saying, we got some items there for my son's birthday, and it was a great experience. You message them on Facebook, they had the package, you pull up in front of their store, you honk your horn, they come out, you pay with your debit, they give you your package, away you go. And then even Rona, we picked up some supplies to do renovations at home, and same thing, we pre-ordered it, we pull in, curbside pickup, gentleman comes and you do the exchange, and it's been a great experience. Everyone's been adapting very well, I think.
I think so too. And again, we've had some different scenarios where people question how far we're going with the guidelines that we're using, but realize most of the store owners, pretty much all of the store owners, I assume, they're reading the advice and the guidelines and the orders that are coming from the medical officer of health. I almost call him Chef Paul. I used to be around anymore. Dr. Paul. I'm not used to being around doctors. But yes, we're doing our best to follow all of the guidelines, and some are going a little bit further than others, but again, they're guidelines, and it's what makes the store owner feel as comfortable as they do at what they're going to allow and what they're not. So just be patient, be kind, and be understanding, and know that you're still going to be able to get what you need, just maybe in a different way. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, on that note, we're seeing some news that things may start opening up soon. We might start getting back to some form of normal. We're not sure what that looks like yet. Hopefully we get some announcements in the next coming days, but we know how the restaurants are, well, I shouldn't say we know, but we can assume based on what we see how the restaurants are performing. We can assume how some of the other stores that are staying open are performing. But the one thing I want to talk about was I saw an interesting statistic related to real estate. And it was, I have it here, active residential listings in Cornwall and surrounding area numbered only 237 units at the end of March. And it's just the interesting statistic here is that this was a large 45.5% decline from the end of March 2019 and a record low for this time this year. So I just wanted to touch on this because obviously you're also a real estate agent, and spring market is usually the hottest time of the year, I would assume, right? Now,
Yeah.
what are you seeing, from your perspective, what are you seeing on the real estate side of things? Because that does, I think that does dictate a little bit of the current economic situation that we're in. Is, are people still selling and buying houses? And according to this, it's saying active real estate listings, right? Because it says there were 162 new listings in March. So that means 162 homes or properties or land went up for sale, right?
And I will say that it has obviously affected us, but I mean, quite honestly, I showed 2 properties in Riverdale just 2 nights ago. I've got 3 listings coming up on the weekend. They'll go active on Monday. People are still buying and selling. The one thing I do want to address is I get a lot of people, especially on my income properties that I have for sale right now, they call and it automatically in their mindset, they want to say, well, they've got to be desperate. We'll just come in, like the term lowballing. I just can't stand that term. But they want to lowball. They figure they must be desperate. They're selling during a pandemic. Not so much, especially if they're income properties that are bringing in income. They're fine as they are. They might be selling for different reasons. So if you think that you're just going to walk in and bully in the offer going, we know that you're not going to get an offer. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Know that we're still showing homes and there are things still being sold. There's not a lot of inventory on the market. So the buyers that are looking, they're more desperate for people to get homes on the market. So it's a catch-22 really. There are people that need to buy. The sellers aren't as there as much. So multiple offers are still going in on some of the homes. Prices are not going. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, hopefully that we see a shift in that. I think maybe once people start, well, and I'm assuming that people being laid off has affected, the buyers, right? Because you're going to struggle getting a mortgage if you're currently laid off, right?
Absolutely. And of course, I'm only speaking on my behalf. Other realtors may have a different opinion of that one, but for the most part, I will say that we are essential. And whether people are going through a divorce, imagine living through a pandemic just when you started to sell your house because you're moving out because you hate each other.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different scenarios that are going on, or people that are moving from coming here. I've got another client moving here from Kingston because his job got transferred. He's still working. He still has to find a place. So that life is still going on in the world of real estate for sure. You know what? Since we're talking about real estate, we do, just to make people feel a little bit better, we have been allowed to go in people's homes. I know that there's places in the United States or across Canada that are not allowing realtors in home. We're doing the best we can to do virtual tours first. We have a professional that goes in. He does a virtual tour of the entire house so you can see it on your computer. You can look over all the pictures, you can look over all the numbers, and then determine whether or not you're ready for the next step to actually go. We have a COVID-19 questionnaire that people fill out to make sure, the standard questions. Have you been out of the country in the last 14 days? Have you been around in contact? As the list goes on, they have to legally sign off on that to make sure that we know that our buyers are safe to go into your home. When we do go into your home, we do wear the rubber gloves. We have our Lysol wipes with us. We have hand sanitizer with us. Our clients do not touch anything. I will be the one, if they want to see how big the pantry is, I open the doors. Then I wipe them down. So we're taking every precaution we possibly can to make everybody feel comfortable. Because again, if you're selling your house, that means you want to sell your house. You don't want to stop for 3 months and go, okay, we can't let anybody in because of the pandemic. Know that we're doing our proper procedures when we're going in and out.
Right. Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. So lately, I've been getting the craziest dreams, whether I'm yelling out bananas in the middle of the night, so Lucas caught me. I guess we were running out of bananas one day at the store, so I dreamt. I'm getting more vivid dreams. Last night, I was in, I'm not sure, somewhere in East India. I was in India somewhere, and I was trying to find a bathroom. It was killing me that I couldn't find a bathroom, and when I finally did, I couldn't fit into it. And then I thought, I don't even really have to go. Why am I in here? Like, it was just nonstop confusion. And I woke up thinking, okay, never mind. I won't tell you what I woke up thinking, but it was very weird. Have you been getting any crazy dreams over the last while since this pandemic has hit?
I don't, no, not like that. Like that's an interesting dream. I haven't. I haven't been affected by dreams. I mean, I feel sluggish. And again, we talk about I'm trying to work out as often as I can, and that gives me a little bit of energy. And I'm watching what I'm eating and taking vitamins and whatnot. But I think it's just being stuck at home and trying to work from home and having the kids at home and trying to do everything that you can at home, but being stuck at home.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really do anything. You can't go have a drink with a friend at a restaurant. You can't do the things that you could do before to get a break. So now I find like that's starting to get to me.
Yeah. Well, going back with the dreams, I did read recently an article, and I heard a friend of mine talking on the radio in Ottawa last week, and I thought, okay, good, I'm not the only one. But because people are on such a lockdown and their minds might not be going as much as they would be at work or doing what they do daily, nighttime is the best time for it to go, all right, figure it out, make your own world, be excited, it's called Quaran-dreams. The Quaran-dreams. So your brain feels like it's been locked up too. So there's a lot of people that are dreaming about tornadoes and hurricanes and chaos in the streets, that sort of stuff. But infestation of bugs, that's one of the main, most common dreams, according to this article on NBC News. Bugs. What are bugs associated with?
Well, germs, right?
Viruses.
Yeah.
So people are dreaming more. So I don't know if there's anybody I haven't been dreaming about bugs, just bathrooms. But that's obvious. That's been one of the more common nightmares that people are having are swarms of bugs, it's a slang term for the virus.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't. I'll have to ask my wife that. I don't. I haven't heard of that happening here, anyways. So yeah, I haven't had that yet. And I think maybe it's not. I shouldn't say that I'm not overly concerned with it. I am taking it seriously and I am taking precautions, but I feel like I'm not giving a lot of attention to it. I'm doing what I have to do and I'm following what we're being told to do and how to take certain precautions. But that's like, I'm not watching much of the news except for what I need to hear. And I'm trying to stay away from the posts on social media that are just more negative or I'm trying to stay away from the noise.
Yes, I can understand that. But for the people who are having the dreams, this woman has given the advice of, which I think is fantastic, meditation. Not everybody wants to meditate, but before you start going to bed, I'll tell you what, it's to get your mind in a different place. Don't be watching the 11 o'clock news and then go. going to stick with you. Your electronics, again, if you want to play a game, for sure, why not? But don't be reading all the posts that you're talking about. Those are the last things that you want to do. You know what I've been doing lately? Because my daughter loves it as well, I've been watching just on YouTube, Friends bloopers.
Oh,
So the Friends episodes every season a million times over. So we've been Googling Friends episodes and Friends episode bloopers and stuff like that. So it gets your mind in a different place before you go to bed, and it calms you a little bit. So between that and trying to wake up at the same time in the morning, going to the bed at the same time at night, those are ones that you can try and keep a little bit of sanity in your mind so it doesn't go out of chaotic bug
yeah.
virus.
No, that's a good tip. And on that Friends notice, I find, because I've been spending some time on TikTok, Friends has really like gone more viral, I think, recently than like Friends was always a very popular show, but I feel like a lot of the younger demographic that probably weren't old enough to watch it when it was on TV are now getting into it. And I'm pretty sure I saw they announced that they're doing a new show, like, or not, maybe like a one episode or something, right?
They're doing a reunion show. I don't know when it's planned for, but who knows anymore when it'd be rescheduled if it was. They're doing a reunion show, and I think it's all of them getting together to discuss some of the things that went on. I don't know if it's an actual skit half-hour show. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do know that they put up Jennifer Aniston and a bunch of them, the cast members, were putting onto Twitter that they were going to raise money for whichever COVID disaster fund relief that they were looking into. They were raising money, and for everybody who put in their donation, they would put them into a draw to be a part of that live studio audience when they finally get to it. Can you imagine?
Oh, that'd be cool.
I got goosebumps when I said that. I mean, Canadian and allowed to do that.
Oh my God, you're funny. And you know what? Since we're on the topic of TV shows right now, I just want to say, so my kids, obviously, we've been consuming, I shouldn't say a lot of TV, but I'm trying to introduce them to new shows. Like they were really into this Captain Underpants, which is an old cartoon, older, but they've been really into it. But I want to specifically talk about Trolls. So Trolls World Tour, the sequel to Trolls. So it came out direct to pay-per-view. It didn't go through the cinemas, and they didn't delay it. And it was $19.99 to rent it, and I think it was for 48 hours. Anyway, my kids, I rented it. They must have watched it 5 or 6 times. They loved it. And then I just read an article recently that a couple of the movie theaters are really upset about it, and they're basically saying they're so upset that they're not going to be showing any more Universal Cinemas movies or cartoons in their theaters. So, and this all started because Universal Studios, which produced or put out the Trolls World Tour, said that they, in the first week, they grossed $100 million through pay-per-view. So they're basically, just saying the response that they got from it. And so the movie theaters are upset about it. So I think this is an interesting conversation, because right away when I read it, I'm like, I'm a little upset that the movie theaters would react that way. And I understand their situation. They're shut down now too. There's nothing they can do, but I applaud Universal for doing this for everyone that's at home with kids that, got a little bit of free time because their kids just consumed Trolls World Tour back to back to back so many times in that 48 hours. What do you think? Where do you sit on this?
Well, those particular movie theaters that are complaining just want to take their ball and go home and show the world that we can't live without them. But I'll tell you, those movie theaters won't live without Universal making money, so that when they do finally open, movies can still be made. Like, come on. Again, that's
Right.
it's to me, that's common sense.
Right. And I think going to the movies is an experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I would, if all the movies came out in movie theaters and went to pay-per-view at the same time, you sure there'd be some that maybe I wouldn't even have gone to see at the theater that I would rent here. But I think the ones that I want to see with my kids are the ones that they're really excited about. I'll still take them to the movie theater because it's an experience.
Yep.
But I just think, Universal, I think Universal did a good thing, and I applaud them for it.
I 100% agree. The only reason I would see that if you could do pay-per-view, going to the movies is awfully expensive. So if you've got 4 kids plus 2 adults, that it's very pricey. So I could see it work for a family like that. But for the most part, yes, I love going to the movies. I don't do it often, but when we do, it's enjoyable. And again, it's an experience, whether it's date night or family night, or you just want to go by yourself and shut down for a little bit. It's definitely an experience. We look forward to getting back to it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So what did you think of Trolls, the new one? I don't think I've seen it. I know there's been one playing in the house, but I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I watched the first little bit with them, but I didn't sit and watch the entire movie with them. I think my wife did though, but they love it, and they've been obsessed with it ever since. So mind you, it was a $20 rental for 48 hours. I haven't rented it a second time. So I don't know how long it's going to be before you can actually buy the movie, but right now you still have to pay $20 to rent it again for another 48 hours. So they got their fill in 40 hours, and we haven't. They've been watching the original one recently.
Come on, there's a birthday this weekend.
Maybe the baby first birthday.
Birthday this weekend, but coming up sooner than later is Mother's Day as well. I know we're going to talk about it on the podcast next week, but I just want to put the reminder, because of places that are in town, out of town. I know out North Stormont, there's a bunch of different places that are still selling stuff curbside, that you can order stuff through their Facebook page, but you might want to do it ahead of time. Don't wait till 2 days before and expect them to have it there ready for you. They may have to order some stuff or make sure that they've got it in stock for you. So now's your chance. I know Cornwall SD&G Tourism. Sorry, what is do you know offhand what it's called again, Pat? The shop SD&G?
Oh, shop Cornwall and area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cornwall and area. So maybe go to a site like that and look at all the different businesses that are on there, and how you can shop local safely, and make sure moms come May 10th.
Yeah. There definitely are opportunities, local opportunities. I'm pretty sure I saw some of the florists. You can still get flowers delivered. I believe Laura's, the Art of Living and Giving. I'm sure that you can still coordinate. I'm pretty sure they're still doing stuff there. But yeah, just do your research. Check on social media. Even call the business if you're unsure. There's definitely a lot of opportunity and a lot of options to make sure that you can still give your mother a special Mother's Day. Even if you can't see her, you can drop a curbside gift off.
And just please try and do it ahead of time, because I'm sure those shop owners will be extremely overwhelmed right up to the very moment that people are picking up their stuff. So try to give them a break, and don't wait to the last minute. It can be tough sides.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Now, I want to bring up, you were talking to me recently about some of the nonprofit organizations that are going on, because we know Mother's Day is usually a big thing for the United Way. They've got a lot of functions that would have been taking part, albeit Mother-Daughter Night, stuff like that. So they're looking for other ways to raise money. And I noticed somebody's selling t-shirts.
Yeah, so there are the t-shirts. It's Together We Stand Apart, and the t-shirts are being sold by Mike's Printing and Apparel. And I believe, according to the United Way Facebook page, that $5 from every shirt sold is being donated to United Way. So, and I know last week we talked about a lot of these nonprofits that are starting to transition their events to virtual events, and they're innovating ways so that you can still fundraise and you can still be part of the experience. So first off, I'll just say, if you're curious as to what's happening, or you're interested in supporting any of these nonprofits, check them out, Google them, and go to their website, or check them out on Facebook, like the United Way. The Cancer Society, we know, is doing their relay virtually. The Agave Centre, I know we did talk to Lise from the Agave Centre just about what's happening there. And first, I'll just say this: they're not accepting clothing donations or any donations of the sorts. They are accepting cash donations.
Thank you for me specifically, because I just emptied my daughter's closet, and that was my question to you today. Are they accepting clothes? I save it for another day for sure, 100%. We've got a place to put it, but you don't want people dropping stuff off and walking away. They still have to deal with it. So keep that in mind, that you said they are not taking clothing donations at this time.
Yeah. So, and I think that's probably goes for any of these places. If you have stuff that you need to donate, like stuff, tangible stuff, hang on to it until this is over with, and then follow up to make sure that you can bring it. Don't bring it now and drop it off. But specifically for the Agave Centre, I thought it was interesting because I remember talking with Lise, the executive director of the Agave Centre, just before the holidays, and she shared some interesting statistics with me about the amount of people that go through there every day. So she gave an update. So she's saying, and I'm going to just again summarize some of this here that she sent. On a regular basis, the Agave Centre supports approximately 1,200 people monthly to access the food bank. The soup kitchen serves an average of 165 meals each weekday. So that's really interesting. So one of the things they've been doing, because she says they've had to close the soup kitchen, so they're distributing lunch bags that will suffice 5 make-at-home lunches. She says these are available for people to pick up anytime through the week without an appointment. Individuals with food bag appointments are greeted outside and given prepared hampers of food. These hampers of non-perishable food are supplemented with fresh produce and dairy products. They are processing new referrals daily, and people have access to the food bank immediately. So she said there's no wait time due to the state of emergency that we're currently experiencing. So it's still the same team, so they're still doing everything they can. But some information about how the pandemic has affected them. So she's saying from March 17th until April 24th, they had 78 new referrals. They handed out 369 lunch bags and 1,080 food hampers. The food hampers have supported 1,400 adults and 506 children in the community. So you can see that the demand is definitely there. The Agave Centre does need the support. She did reiterate that they are still accepting donations of food and monetary donations. They can accept it through donations of cash, gift cards, check, or by credit card. People can also send e-transfers to accounts at agavecentre.ca. So I just think it's important because, this is a difficult situation for all of us in different ways. But let's not forget that there are people that, even in a difficult time like this, aren't as fortunate as we are. Even though we may be going through struggles, there is still a need for people who, maybe can't have 3 meals a day.
And the idea of children going through that just kills me on the inside.
Yeah.
So if you have something to donate, as Pat's given you all the ways to do it, or you can go to their Facebook or website to find out more. But right at this moment, I'd like to say congratulations and thank you to every single one of them that are working there right now, because there's a lot of volunteers still, I think, are they not?
Yeah, I think she said, did she give me a number of volunteers? She said they have the same team of 10 staff and volunteers from the first day of their closures.
Yeah.
So she said, and these are frontline workers. These are people that are putting themselves, out in front of this, just like grocery store employees, everyone. And really, kudos to everyone. If you're still working to accommodate the consumers or to accommodate society and what we're going through, thank you for all that you're doing, because we're still able to move forward day by day because of what all those people are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. The world has to keep going somehow, and in some way we will get every business back open. And just remember who it was that was helping out even when they couldn't technically. We want to make sure Canadians are supporting Canadians. SDNG is supporting SDNG right down, as best we can. We can see what happens to people when it stops, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, oh no, what was it? Shoot. It was something not important, apparently. I had something on my mind. It doesn't matter, but I would like to very quickly go back to, you had said something when I was talking about the quarantine dreams. You had said that you feel exhausted all the time. You're not alone on that one either. I also read an article where being under quarantine is exhausting because your mind, you're not doing the things that you ever did before. So it's completely all right to wake up in the morning. I'm not going to say you're depressed. You don't want to go into the depression category on that one. And I'm not obviously not a professional to say that, but everybody is in that same boat where every day it's like, what do we do now? Okay, let's go do the kids' homework again, or let's go clean something else. Like mentally, you are getting exhausted because physically your body's not keeping up to what you're not normally used to doing.
Yeah.
Did any of that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where the concern does come with mental health, right? Just making sure you're touching base with your family and your friends and make sure that they're doing okay. Because yes, I'm mentally I feel fine. I'm just feel a little exhausted. And you're right. It's probably because it's the same day-to-day monotony. You
Yeah.
know, same thing. It's like every day it's like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. You wake up and the same thing is on repeat. The only thing that changes is hopefully the weather. Hopefully it's a nice day and then you feel better. But then if it's the same crap rain like it is, you know, then it's that same wheel that just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, and so no change. So hopefully.
Here's a little trivia question for you. Groundhog Day, what song did he wake up to every morning on the radio?
Oh my God. I can't even hear it in my head.
I Got You, Babe.
Ah.
At like what, 6:01 or something like, or 5:59.
Yeah.
I've watched it a million times over.
Oh my God.
Well, Pat, I think that's probably about it for us. But again, do your best to get yourself some good sleep. Shut everything off to go to bed, or like I suggest, get some Friends bloopers or some sort of, depending on what your age is. I think everybody likes that show, but get something that makes you happy before you go to bed. Even if you can't meditate or you don't want to do something like that, get everybody doing something that's a little bit more fun and takes the onus off your brain before you go to bed and have nightmare after nightmare. It really will help. Get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time every day. Try to keep some sort of routine. I know Tom from Quest has said that over and over again. Try to get a routine in a structure of your day so that you don't get exhausted by the end wondering, what do I do next?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And then don't forget, Mother's Day is coming up. Make sure you prepare for that. And please, if you can, try and support your community by donating to really any of these non-for-profits or charities that could use the help right now.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much to our friends at Chrysler, Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Vincent Massey Drive. We appreciate them in this at this time, and especially with their employees out there still working to make sure everybody gets on the road safely. And we thank them for being part of the chat. So thanks so much, Pat. I'm Sue Stewart, and we'll talk to you again next time on the chat.